Right, so now let's create the fourth question, and we go to create question and then click on multiple choice. Okay, so now the question text, let's enter a multiple choice question. So this one here. My new book is a huge something, lots of people are reading it, and then we're going to go down to the options here. This is for partial credit, if partial credit is allowed, but what we're going to do is just going to skip this here and then go to this part here, answers. So we have total number of 4 answers, 4 choices, and obviously one will be correct. So we can change that accordingly. We can make it more than 4, or we can do it less than 4 if we click on remove on the bottom of each part here, each answer. So we'll leave it at 4 for this one and just enter the different answers. So we have comical, professional, talented, and hit. Right, so now we need to choose the correct answer from these radio buttons. So the correct answer for this question is hit. So we go to hit. My new book is a huge hit. So I've selected this here, which shows that this is the correct answer. And then I'm going to go down to feedback, to the feedback section. Again, I'm going to skip this here, it's optional. And then go to the category section here, and I'll do the same as before, where I will add a new category. So I can choose from existing like before. We have 2 options now, fill in blank or matching. So what I'll do is I'll just make a new one. So this one is multiple choice, so MCQ, and then press OK. So that's a new category created, and then I'm just going to click submit. And that is the 4th question created, the multiple choice question. Let's move on to the 5th one and the final question that we're going to be going through in this video, which is the true and false. Okay, so again, similar to before, I'll have this question here. Riyadh is the capital city of Saudi Arabia, and then I'm going to go to the answer here. So is it true or false? You select it. So it's true. And then the feedback section again, I'm going to skip it and go to the categories. So now I'm going to add this as a new category, true, false, and then press OK. Again, this is optional, so we don't really need to do this here, but it is very useful, especially for the future if you create more tests and you'd like to use previous questions. So once again, this is optional, and then I'm going to click on submit, and then we have our 5th question, the true or false question. So that's 5 questions done. Okay, so what we need to do also is look at this part on the right here where it says points. So we can see here that each question is allocated 10 points. So we can change that accordingly. So if you want to change this one here, we can just click here and just change it, right, for each one. Or we can select the ones that we'd like to change, right, that manually, and then we can update the points here, right. So I can change it here, and the ones I've selected, and click update, and it will change the points accordingly. So we have 5 here for this one, the one that I selected. You see this one I didn't select, number 2, it remains 10, right. Or we can do all, select all, and change all of them to the points that we want. Or we can do it based on the question type that I created before, right. They're the question types. So these are the different types of questions that we created here on the canvas. So we can do it based on that. So all multiple choice questions, they will get like 6 points, and then all, and then I update, and then all true or false questions get 2 points and update, etc. Right? So that's how, that depends on how we want it. So let's just do select all and make the points equal for all of them, so 1 point for all of them each. So we have here 1 point for each of them. Right? So that is the points, and we've finished creating the test. So now what I can do is just go below and just press OK. Click on OK, and that's the test created. So if I go back to my Dalil al-Muqarrar now, where I wanted to initially create a test, I won't see anything. That's because we haven't yet assigned the test yet. So now what I need to do to assign the test, go back to test in the assessment feature, in the assessment menu, and then now add an existing test. I need to add the test. So this is the test we created, demo test 2, and what I do now is just click on submit, and then I will get the test options now. So this is the name of the test. I can change it, and then if I go down, I can have a look at this part here, test availability, and then this is where we make the test available for the students. In this case, I click no, so we can make it available as soon as we've created it, right? Or we can change it and make it available later on. We can add an announcement also, an announcement for the students. So once the test is added, then they will receive an announcement telling them that there's a new test for them to take. We can allow multiple attempts also, right? So for now it's limited to one attempt. If you'd like to give the students more than one chance to do the test, then we can do that. So allow multiple attempts, and we can limit the number of attempts. And we can also force completion. So once they start, they must complete the test in one sitting. If this is not checked, then that means they can pause it and go back later on to complete the test. We can also set a timer, right? So the timer here, we can set a timer which shows the students the time. And what we can do also, if we do select it, so let's say 60 minutes, we can have an auto submit feature. So once 60 minutes is over and this feature is on, auto submit, then that means the test will save and submit automatically when time expires. However, if it is off, then even if the time expires, right, the user is given the option to continue. So the student can continue even if the time expires. So we will not check this one here. And then we can indicate when the students will see it. So we can display it after a certain date and until a certain date and time. We can also set a password. So for students that wish to take the test, they would need to enter a password. And then if you go down to due date, we can also set a due date here. Okay, a due date. And then this part here is the self-assessment options. This is now where you can include this test in the grade center score. So in the grade center where you have the assignments and the tests, you can include this, or you can not include it. It's your choice. And then if you go down below to this part here, show test results and feedback to students. So here we can select what kind of feedback the student will get after completing the test. So if we leave on after submission, right, after submission, they can see the score per question, right, after they submit it. And then here we have some options that we can allow them to see. So we can allow them to see all the answers to the questions. We can show them the correct answers, and we can also show them the submitted answers, so the answer that they submitted. So if you don't want to show them the correct answers, then we can just deselect correct here and they will not see the correct answers, right? But for this one here, we'll just click correct so they can see that. and then we can allow them to see the feedback, and we can show them the questions that they got incorrect. And then we have the test presentation section here, so we can show all of the questions at once, present the entire test on one screen, or one at a time, so they have to do one and then continue, move on. And we can prohibit backtracking, prevent changing the answer to a question that has already been submitted. So if they submit one answer, then they can't go back and change it. And we can also randomize questions for each attempt. So now when they go and attempt, if there's multiple attempts, then you can randomize them, so it's not always the same layout. So that once we are happy with the options, we can just click on submit below, and then the test will be created in the section where you chose to create the test. So in this case here we have demo test 2, so I can just click on this to test it now. So I click on it and then click on begin, and this is the test, a preview of the test. So we have the questions here, 5 questions, and we can just do anything here. Let's try study, and then here travel, and then I'll just click on anything. Question number 4, let's do something wrong, and then through here. Okay, and we can see the points here, and also they get automatically saved, so the answers get saved automatically, so we can see here. And if we want to manually save them, then we can just click on this part here, this button here. So once we complete, so that once the student completes the test, he clicks on save and submit, and then test submission, you press OK, and this is submitted details. And then we can just review it by pressing OK here, and then we can see the questions and the review, right? So correct answer, this is the correct answer, this was incorrect, study, and so forth. And if you remember before, where partial points were given for this matching question, we can see here, because I got one part right out of the 3 parts, I got a score of 0.3 out of 1. And then that's it. So press OK, and that is the end of the test. Okay, so that is the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching. Assalamu alaikum.